Big tech and big media brand Biden as moderate, while he governs as a stone-cold liberal. Any objection to the Democrat agenda is controversialized as racist, bigoted, or homophobic. And corporate America runs tail at the slightest whiff of controversy, believing the hype from the mob, sacrificing their integrity on the altar of wokeism so the mob doesn't come for them. Now, most news consumers, casual, we're busy. They glance at the headlines, big media narratives just kind of wash over them. Most Americans' lives are filled with work and family and commuting, sports, and, dealing with the house. And it takes a lot of effort to dig deep past the front page. But it's become so blatant now that even casual news consumers see the distortions. Trust in the media has hit an all-time low, and now a majority of Americans want to break up the big tech companies. The American people need to communicate to their politicians that it's time to go back to the Teddy Roosevelt days of trust busting. The very essence of the United States of America is at stake. Joining me now to react, Glenn Greenwald, journalist and author, Securing Democracy, My Fight for Press Freedom and Justice in Bolsonaro's Brazil. All right, Glenn, we can all see now that corporate media has kind of adopted the language and the agenda of the Democratic Party, and they're participating in partisan politics more than I've ever seen it in my lifetime. And they do it under the guise of compassion and open-mindedness. But tell us what you think is really going on.
I think a couple of things are going on. Number one is I think all of those trends that you just identified severely worsened during the Trump era. Beginning really in 2016, they obviously had no expectation Trump would win. And then when he did, it was an incredible shock to the system of media and political experts. They felt like they had lost control over the discourse, that their ability to predict what would happen was taken away from them. And they kind of went into this panic and hysteria mode and ultimately convinced themselves that what they were dealing with was not a president with whom they had ideological disagreements or who they thought was occasionally unethical or even dishonest, but actually like a Hitler figure. They would say that explicitly over the last couple of years. And if you really believe that you're on the front lines of this like demented fantasy where you're defending American democracy from some kind of like Nazi movement and that half the country supports this sort of evil, you're willing essentially to do anything in order to advance your agenda. And in many ways, they became mirror images of what they claimed that Trump was. They threw out all standards, all ethics, in order to achieve not a journalistic goal, but a political one. And then I think the other part of it is, as you alluded to, they know that they are losing trust and faith on the part of the public. Their ability to control the flow of information is slipping out of their fingers. And as they do, they're resorting to the same thing people always resort to when they want to hold on to power, which is despotic tactics and censorship. They're trying to silence anybody who disagrees with them or who questions or challenges them or offers a different perspective by getting them kicked off the internet or cable TV. In the case of Fox News, they're really actually now explicitly advocating for that. As they feel themselves getting weaker and more desperate, their tactics are getting more repressive and more dishonest.
And you just brought that up because James O'Keefe, Project Veritas, whose videos we just played you, has been permanently suspended from Twitter. So it is following that same path. All right, Glenn's book, My Fight for Press Freedom and Justice in Bolsonaro's Brazil, Securing Democracy, it's called. Go check it out. Glenn, thanks for joining Water's World. We really appreciate your insight.
Yeah, happy to be with you.